Hola, ¿cómo estás? Bienvenidos a el podcasto Airwaves. What up? Thank you for coming. I'm stoked you're here. This is Airwaves, numero uno, the Trust Industries podcast. I'm Mason Cutler, and today I get to sit down and chat with Juliette Irons. Juliette Irons. Juliette is a dancer and a choreographer, and she also makes her own music and directs her own videos and is an all-around creative. She's also one of my best friends. So, let's do it. Thanks for coming, and welcome to Airwaves. This love. Hey, we are live. Airwaves number one. So stoked. Extremely nervous, hands sweating, sitting about 4 feet from Juliette Irons.
Hello.
Hey. Basically, I just wanted to start doing this in order to get to talk about some of the stuff we've been making and share it and share our general ideas. I don't know. I feel like we talk a lot, and it would be cool at least just to get snippets of that conversation in a place where we could actually share it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I feel like when I get on the phone with you for an hour or something, we go through like a whole zone of places.
Yeah.
Talk about like everything that's important. And then I'm just like, well, no one will ever hear that.
I know. So true. So true. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
This is awesome.
Well, Jules is in Topanga for the first time. We're trying it up here at my house in Topanga.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's dark outside. Coyotes aren't howling yet, but they've been around. The other day, one literally came up like onto the deck right here.
That's crazy.
And I was just like, whoa. And my door was open. He just came up and kind of looked around. And I was like, whoa. And he kind of sniffed at my trash a little bit and didn't really find anything he liked. And then he just dipped.
That's
and I was
awesome.
like, he was right here, you know? Like, my only real friends up here are the animals because I've been so alone. I've been so alone.
That's so legit.
I'm like, you know, when you go a long time without talking to someone and you need any interaction you can. Like, the squirrels are like really stimulating. You're like, oh my God, there's another sentient being out there. Like,
that's amazing. Animals, though, that's the best. That's better than the homeless people on Vine Street.
Well, that's cool too.
I mean, that is cool too.
Have you ever? Was it Jake?
Jake.
Have you ever seen?
I don't know where he is.
So Jules had this friend named Jake who was this really cool painter. Actually,
I sound so nuts now.
Yeah, no, he was dope. He was like this huge. He was probably like 500 pounds. Like huge dude, and he was chilling, always in Hollywood, and he would do these really funky paintings.
Yeah, he was cool.
Yeah.
And we just became friends because I passed him every day. And I had him do some live painting at one of my shows. I just like included him.
Cool. Was that the like Love Your Brain painting? Yeah, it was cool.
It was awesome. I still have that. I hung it up on my wall for like 5 years.
And he just came in and did that?
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, he was really interesting. Always like a little...
He seemed kind of pessimistic,
right? But then he would paint these things that were like, just the world is beautiful.
Yeah,
it's like
so funny.
So much positivity. Yeah, it was interesting.
Maybe his positivity just like needed an outlet or something. Like,
yeah. No, one time I decided that because he had a phone and my phone number, so he would text me sometimes. I don't even know how
just
that
random
happened.
Stuff, right?
I don't remember how or why I decided to give him my phone number, but I think it was for him to be in my show. And then he texted me, asked me if I wanted to come and paint with him one day, and I just was like, okay. So I went out onto the street. And we sat on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
I sound so insane right now. And we just painted, like a mutual painting.
The two of you together?
Yeah, and we just did whatever. And I still have that one too, actually. And people were just like so confused when they would walk by that like I was sitting with him. And like they just were like, what are you doing?
Did they think you were homeless or no?
Well, I didn't look like I just looked... I didn't like try to make myself look homeless or anything.
Right.
Like I just looked regular. So I think it just looked strange. But he like just started crying at one point because he was like, I can't believe you're sitting here with me.
Whoa, just to be with another person.
Cool. Yeah. That was
That's
unique
a trip.
experience. Yeah.
I was driving, coming off the 101 today, and there was this woman holding up a sign that said, you know, I have children and things like that. And she looked like she was probably 25 years old, like, and really pretty and like just young, to where I was like, she came up to my car and I was like, do you have a home? And she was like, yeah, I have a home, but I can't afford anything. And I was like, okay, at least you have like a, you know, right now you have a roof, right?
Yeah.
Because she was so young.
Oh my
like,
God, yeah.
I don't know why it's so trippy to me to see really young people homeless. Like when I was in Australia and met this kid who was like 21, and I was probably around that age at that point, and he'd already been homeless for like 2 years or something. He called it sitting on top of the rock.
Oh, that's so
He's
cool.
like, I've been on top of the rock for 2 years.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Like you are so young and
For 2 years.
For 2 years. And he was crazy. He would rhyme everything.
What?
He would do these weird, like sort of manic kind of rap verses where he would be like, that's a parrot, let me take it, flip it, I get the script, and like doing these weird like rhythmic where it was fascinating.
Wow.
Like my homie that I was with was not into it. He was like,
let's go.
this is really
That's
weird.
awesome.
But for me, I just went out there and I don't know, I had to hang with him for a bit because I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
You know, like I get so curious. Why?
Yeah.
Have
I mean,
you
that's what I
chosen?
did. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you chosen to sort of be in this situation, or is it just
Can you
kind
not
of,
get out
can
of
you
it?
not
or
get
like,
out of it?
I mean, the interesting thing is, I think, like, some people out there like want to be there in a weird way. Like Jake told me that he wouldn't know what to do with himself if he wasn't, like, the street feels like his home. But sometimes he really wants like a bed and stuff like that. And he actually said to me once that he thinks he is in a better situation than a rich person, because a rich person takes their bed for granted every night, and if he ever got to sleep in a bed, it would be the best of his life.
Just be stoked.
Yeah.
Huh.
Which I thought was interesting. But he said he wanted to be there.
Just kind of keep yourself there. Like, I think it's definitely one of like the rawest ways of living, you know. You're seeing everything. And
you don't have
see
things.
You don't have things.
And you see everybody else walking by that has things.
Yeah, and you see their reactions towards you.
Yeah.
Well, I was in London sitting with this homeless guy for a bit, and I was wearing something kind of grungy, like could have been a homeless kid, you know? And I was sitting with him, and I noticed, like, after a while, I probably sat with him for an hour and a half. I think we got some McDonald's or something, and then just sat and ate it together.
That's amazing.
And I noticed after a bit, I was like, literally just me being like sitting lower. Already it was like that shift. Like if I would have made eye contact with someone while I'm walking on the street, it would have been a certain way. Yeah. And then when I sat, I could tell that people were just doing this look down, sort of like,
they look down at you.
Look down at you. Already. Whoa. You were like, holy shit. And
Yeah.
I understand, I think maybe a little better why some people might feel pinned in that space.
Yeah.
Because you're literally just being looked down
divided.
upon. Like you're in a different plane.
Yeah.
You're on this other level of existence. And it was interesting because it wasn't everyone. You know, some people were sort of curious, like, but some people were definitely like kind of disgusted, you know, like just like looking at you kind of like
get
brushing
out of
you,
my way.
like kind of trash or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But just that dividing level of like being 4 feet lower and sitting on the ground, you know,
it's insane.
It's, like, it's so trippy.
Did I tell you I did that once? Like I actually pretended to be homeless for like a day.
I don't
It was
remember.
right when I moved to Hollywood, because I kind of freaked out about how many homeless people there were, because I'd never lived anywhere like that before. So I went from St. Catharines, Ontario to North Hollywood, North Hollywood was like Arts District, and then I went to Hollywood, which was like a mind blowing kind
everything.
of. Yeah, and it really freaked me out. And so I decided it would be a great thing for me to see what that was like, because I just had to know. So I kind of went insane for like a few hours and just like ripped up some of my old clothes and like got them all dirty and like didn't wash my hair and just made it really like greasy and like wore like flip-flops and just brought like a piece of cardboard.
You
with
write
a sign
something
on it. Yeah, I wrote something on it. It was like, I don't need your change. I need the world to change or something like that.
I remember you telling me about
I just sat there for 2 hours waiting just to see what would happen.
Anything interesting?
Well, I made like 75 cents or something. So a bunch of people came up to me and would ask like, you're so young, what's wrong or something? And because they wanted to know.
Like curious
but I just would never
about
say
how
anything.
you got there.
I just was silent. And then the police came. And
Whoa.
I told them I was doing an experiment, and look, I have keys. I
did they
live
say?
down there, and they were like, okay, but you have to move from this area.
Huh.
And then I went over to the other side of the street and sat on the fountain and like held up my sign, and then walked across the street, like flashing my sign at everyone. And then I went back inside, got dressed to go to this like thing, put on makeup and like a dress and all this stuff. And then it was like whole other way of people acknowledged me, like, as opposed to not at all before, when I was disgusting
else.
looking. And then it was funny. It was interesting.
I've never done that where I've just tried for like a while, like take a day or something. I thought it'd be interesting to do a full-blown experiment where you'd be homeless for like a week or something like that. Like really get into it.
Yeah. I don't know. Oof. I don't know if I could do it. I think I'd be terrified.
I'm just thinking about like the joint pain and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like
just the people that like you could get hurt by people just being on the street unprotected. If you're in a certain area, I guess, I don't know, like overnight.
Just people walking around, seeing your sleeping body at night, just like.
I think that's what I'd be scared of the most, is sleeping. Like anyone can like just access you at any point because you're just there. There's no wall, there's no door, there's no anything protecting you. I already had a hard time enough sleeping alone in my apartment with doors, like convincing myself everything's fine. I have my cat, like no one's gonna hurt you.
He will protect me, right, little cat?
Yeah, he would not. No,
he'd be like,
he'd be like, "Where's the food?" Maybe, you never know. Yeah.
I don't have anything up here. I thought there was a bear up here the other day, and I was like, "Oh my god, am I gonna get attacked by a bear at my place?"
Oh my god!
I think
you could use these mic stands.
Yeah, I could hit him with like a bass guitar or something.
No, never the instruments.
Right, save the instruments. Use the mic stands.
Use the
piano
stool.
There's probably some other ones, some surfboards. I don't know. Probably not the surfboards. They're just foam. It would just like bite it. Surfboards are just glass and foam. Mic stand. Yeah. Fists. Rocks.
Rocks.
I don't know. Climb away.
Rocks.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I encountered a little scorpion here too. There's like a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of animals have come wandering around.
Scorpion.
A little brave bird just walked in the other day. Like I was chilling inside and had the door open, and it literally just like meandered in. I was like, "You're pretty brave, just walking up to the desk. Like, how you doing?"
What's up?
It just came right in. I'm like, "What? You think this is a Chipotle or something? Like, chill out."
I love that.
But I've been trying to make friends with them. Yeah, I've been trying to make friends with them. At least with the squirrels, like. They kind of do this thing where they come up and they look at me through the doorway and they just like kind of give me the eye, and I'm like, "I see you." And then I walk out and they scatter away, and I leave like I leave like little Nature Valley bars.
What?
And then they
amazing.
Come back and they eat them, and I'm like, I've kind of done this little schedule with them, where they know if they like look at me, I'll go out and like
give them some food. I'm jealous. I want squirrels.
Yeah,
I need to move up here.
Yeah, you should. That would be the advantage of having a car, is that you can just go wherever you want.
Yes, that would be.
Go go play guitar somewhere whenever,
Yeah, I mean, I can just get in an Uber, but it's like it's a different thing. So. Yeah. It's a different thing.
Just up here, I guess. It's
up here,
weird to get an Uber. Like I think I've gotten one Uber, and the guy was like so confused.
He's like, "Where am I?"
Yeah, he was like, "What is this place?" Like people, when they come up here, even if it's not in an Uber, they're like, "What is this?" Like it's like they've never seen a tree, like the hill, that whole windy hill. They're just like, "Oh my god, like you live here?"
Like, yes, things exist outside of Hollywood.
Like, it's so trippy that it's right here, though. It's like not that far, and it feels like you're camping or something. Like it's a whole nother
it does
universe.
I had to get an Uber on my birthday last year when I tried to camp alone. Bad idea.
Really? I remember.
No, camping alone, not a bad idea. Camping alone without a car, bad idea. That's I got stuck.
Last time I camped alone was the first time I took mushrooms.
Oh.
I was like, I'm just going to go be alone and try it out.
How'd it go?
It went pretty good. I took them like at the end of my drive when I almost got to the campsite. I was like all excited.
Where did you camp?
I camped at Leo Carrillo.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And I took them as chocolate, so I didn't really know how much I was taking. Oh. And I kind of had talked to my older sister about it, because she's like, the drug guru that can give me all the information. She hates that. She's like, my little sister and I are always asking her about, well, what should we do? How do we be careful about this? But she's like, you just ask me about drugs. And we're like, well, we want to be safe. And you've got some knowledge,
Yeah.
I really appreciate that, actually, that she does that. And she'll kind of like lay some ground rules and give me things to be, have a heads up about. She was like, yeah, fire is really enjoyable. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. So that's kind of why I decided to go camping.
Yeah.
And so the whole first part, I was just trying to make this fire. And I had one of those logs that you just light and it's supposed to like start the fire. But I took it out of the wrapping, and you're supposed to light the wrapping. That's what like lights the whole thing.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird. It's like the paper burns, and then that starts the like fire log burning. But I took it out and tried to light it like that, and it just wasn't working. And I spent like the whole first half of the experience just so mad.
Oh,
just trying to get this thing lit for hours and just coming back to it. And I was just like, just fuming.
You're like, it's ruining my high.
I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then finally I got it lit. After a while, it's lit. And it was so nice, like just to sit by a fire. And I'd been making a bunch of music. It was the first time I stayed in Topanga, actually. It was when I had rented that Airbnb for a month.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just listening to the music that I'd been making. And then I ended up putting this song on by King, that girls like a cappella style group. And it was so warm and everything was so nice. And I just kind of danced by the fire. And I wasn't really tripping. Like, I don't think I really took all that much, but it was really nice because I was alone. So I didn't like, freak out or anything like that.
Yeah.
It felt relatively normal. I was kind of expecting to go somewhere else,
Right.
I was kind of expecting like my perception to leave me or something like that and go to another sort of planet or something. But I was more just like, okay, I'm here. I feel a little bit of something, but it was kind of really low that way. And it wasn't until I laid down finally to go to bed that I saw I think I told you about this, like, it was as if thoughts had actual auditory frequencies.
You did tell me about that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
It was really
yeah.
fascinating. It was like, you could I was watching my thoughts come in and out, just how we do normally. You have a set of thoughts and your brain's just kind of queuing up a new thought after the last one.
Yeah.
And then it was like this really cool experience of like whatever the overall feeling of that thought was, there was an auditory frequency that was like that sensation. So if the thought was like really something positive, it would usually be two tones that were really harmonious, and it would feel like this.
So was
really
it like, did
warm,
it sound like music or was it just like vibrations?
Not necessarily like music because it was so specific, but there was a musical quality in that things were harmonic or they were not. What do you call it when it's not harmonic? What is it?
I know what you're talking about.
I
can't think about it right now.
I can't believe I
Someone
can't remember
tell
this
us.
word. Yeah, tell us, other people out there who will hear this in the future. I know you have the word in your head, and you have it on your phone. What is it?
Yeah.
Google it now. I'll think of it in a bit. Whoa, why is that?
I can't think of it
weird.
either.
But it was like those when I had a thought that felt like made me kind of contract and felt negative, it was like these tones would rub like really obviously. It was like very uncomfortable.
Wow.
It kind of heightened that sense of an uncomfortable thought because it was a frequency. It was actual frequencies that I were hearing that were rubbing. It was like, hearing some person just play two notes that just sound awful together, over and over, But it was cool because I could kind of follow this journey of the thought as one was coming in, and then it would lead into a different thought. And okay, that thought would have a different harmony, and the next thought would have a different harmony. And it almost gave me more of like the impetus to change that thought because I could really feel whether it was harmonious or not. It was really cool that way.
Wow.
Yeah. But
That's fascinating. You should create something about that.
Yeah, it was really funky. It just made it so much more obvious, that like train of thought. Okay, here's kind of where it's going, and it was kind of a fascinating experience. Colors? A little bit of color, a little bit of that swirliness.
That
just a little bit of that, yeah. And then at the end of the night, I sort of just felt very wolf-like. Like I just got in
I
tune.
remember that. You
I just got
told
in
me
tune
that.
with
Yeah.
some wolf, and I was like getting restless and wanted to go to sleep. And I sat up like a wolf and just like I literally looked up out the top of my tent. It's just like this big ass moon, and I was like, "Whoa,
You're like, I'm a wolf
I'm a
right
fucking
now."
wolf. I'm a fucking wolf."
Oh yeah.
That's one of the cool things about mushrooms in particular is I think I've done them 3 or 4 times now, and every time there's usually like a very connected to animals sense about it, where I just feel like an animal, which we are, right? But we don't necessarily think that all the time. It's like for some reason they get me really in tune with that sort of, hey, I'm just this, organism like anything else. It's really cool that way.
Yeah.
It can be kind of trippy because you start becoming aware of like, okay, there's like just tubes in my body, right? It's just these pieces coming together as in any other animal.
Wow,
I'm putting things in one end and putting them out the other,
and
right?
just existing
And doing. I've got the same drives. I've got hormones. I've got definitely we're more advanced. I think we think.
Yeah, we think.
Maybe not than dolphins.
We just can't communicate. No, probably not dolphins.
I think they know really what's going on.
If we could communicate with them, maybe we'd find out that they just are way ahead of us.
I think there's definitely animals that
they're
know
not, like,
certain things that we don't, like, or just kind of open up, like dolphins in particular. Like they've definitely they got some cool shit going on.
And they're not polluting the earth and destroying it like we are.
No, they seem to be enjoying it.
I mean, right. they do like eat each other.
Do they?
But not each other, but like other types of.
Oh, like fish and things like that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, like animals in general. Like they do eat other types of animals. We don't.
Is that
eat
weird
other
to you?
Well, do we eat humans? Maybe some.
Some people.
Oh God, let's not go
But
there.
I mean, we're eating animals. Some of us, right?
Right.
I mean,
Not me.
yeah. I was gonna say, is that trippy
Actually, wait,
to
I do
you?
eat
Like,
fish though. So.
is that trippy that animals are just eating other animals in the food chain, and we're sort of like a part of that, like eating down the food chain, all these other animals?
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, it kind of freaks me out.
I'm sort of in this questioning phase about eating meat in general, where I'm like, what is it? Like, I'm trying to sort of figure out that own journey for my own body and my own life.
Yeah.
Because the more research I do, it's really hard for me to see those things where it's like, the massive farm, like animal farming.
The way it gets created for me is why I will never eat meat. But I think there are smart ways to choose if you're going to eat it. You just have to like have the desire to like look for the right things.
Right.
You aren't being like mass.
I've been trying to be more aware of that, but even today I was eating out at Mendocino Farms, and I got this, chicken sandwich.
Yeah, which I love Mendocino Farms.
I love it too.
It's like it's hard.
But I'm like, how could I know where they got this?
You
Does it
can't,
take me asking, or should I just, only eat meat that I've gotten
Don't
for
Google it.
myself? Only eat stuff that I truly know where it's coming from, in terms of like, okay, I bought this and it's, the animals were free roaming, and,
right?
Here's this.
Right.
And here's that.
I mean, I think when you have the option, like, then that's a really good thing. But what about when you're traveling and you're at an airport and you, like, I got stuck at the airport for 8 hours recently,
and you have to eat something.
I was like, there's nothing I could eat because I'm allergic to dairy and I don't eat meat, and I was like, I'm so hungry, like maybe I should just eat like chicken or something, like, I don't know. And like, but for people that do eat meat, like, what are you supposed to not eat anything because none of it's organic, but you're at the airport for 8 hours?
Right.
Like, it's hard to do. I totally
especially with the traveling
understand that.
too.
Yeah.
It's definitely, it feels like there's a big shift going on in terms of lots of people eating vegan or vegetarian, especially in LA. We've got tons of vegan options, and it seems like more and more people are like, I eat vegan, I'm a vegan. And I just want to, I just have that sensation. I just want to know, like, what is the truth around all of this? Like, in terms of, okay, the health for our body, and also the other side of like where we do get these things, because I've eaten a lot of meat. I used to eat meat every meal until about a few months ago, when I was like, okay, I'm going to start trying to wean off a little bit and have it maybe one meal a day, maybe 2 meals a day, maybe one. Okay, kind of see. And I had one day where I didn't eat it at all, and I got kind of freaked out.
You're like, oh my God,
I was like, what am I?
Yeah.
And I kind of swung back the other way. But I'm definitely like trying to, figure out. And it's also made me eat other things, which I probably think is good in general, not to have to rely on just eating meat and get some like, other things in my system, right? Like I had this, whatever this Indian dish is yesterday, some like tikka masala that was just this veggie thing, and I made it with rice. It's like I wouldn't have probably made that otherwise if I was just going to cook up a chicken or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's just about like observing what happens to your body when you eat certain things. Like if bad things happen, and like obviously if you're going to eat like chemical filled fast food stuff every meal multiple times a day, like it's gonna affect your body. You're gonna feel like shit.
Yeah, eventually you're gonna see it.
You're gonna become sick eventually. I think your body's gonna like become ill. So it's just about people kind of realizing
having that awareness.
Yeah, but sometimes it takes actually experiencing that to wake up and go.
I think especially when you're young too, because your body's like kind of more able to just cycle this thing through. I think it depends on the person, but some people you're like, holy crap, they eat like shit. They smoke cigarettes, and they're the best dancer I've ever seen.
I know, it's insane. Yeah,
I see people where I'm like, how
is that happening?
How is your body? Like,
how are you not 500 pounds?
Yeah. Okay. One, how are your hips doing that when you smoke that many cigarettes?
Oh, that
I'm like,
too. Yeah.
Okay, what is going on here?
Right? Or singers like that smoke cigarettes, and I'm like, how?
Some people say that's what it is. It's just cigarettes and whiskey. That's how you get the great.
Right. I'm like, no, I've actually considered it. Some of my favorite artists from like, years ago that smoked their whole life, like Joni Mitchell or whatever. And I'm like,
this is the prettiest.
I'm in love with your voice. Should I smoke? No.
Like,
I'm not going to, but maybe whiskey though.
I do think your voice is kind of Joni Mitchell-esque, actually.
I try.
The more I hear you play, the more I'm like, it definitely gives me that sort of vibe.
Well, that's cool.
I want to play. I want to play syncing so that everyone can hear it.
That would be awesome.
If you wanted to talk about it at all.
Yeah, I could talk about it a little. It's a song that I wrote probably in September, I think.
Yeah.
I was just watching like a YouTube video one day, and all of a sudden this like string of words came through my head, and it was one of those moments of, I have to write this down. This is a song. Like I have to just start writing. Yeah. So I got out my guitar, and all I remember is like hours went by, and all of a sudden I like came to, or whatever you want to call it, and my hand was like so cramped because I'd played the same chords over and over and over and over and over and over, and the song was done. And it was just something that needed to come out of me. And I felt like really good afterwards, and like emotional. There's a lot of emotions in there. I cried when I actually listened to it back, because I wasn't really paying attention while I was writing it. I stopped, and like when I write a song, I'll be kind of like in this zone, and then when it's over, I will sit and listen, and then I can hear it. And I just laid down, and I heard it for the first time, and I just cried so much because it hit me what I said.
Whoa.
And I was like, I really accessed something, and I wasn't really like even aware that I was writing it. It's like kind of simple lyrically. It's not like the deepest, pun intended, song like lyrically, but there were just some things in there where I just thought, wow, I can't believe I like this came out of me, and I'm just really happy with it. And
hell yeah, I'm gonna cue it up.
Yeah, cool.
Heart just beats like that, and no matter what you need, yeah, I'll be there always got your back. Even when we're falling free, I'll jump and get you first. 'Cause for you I crash and burn. Yeah, I don't care how much it hurts. Oh, I'm sinking under your heavy arms, and I'm wasted on a space covered in scars. And I'll live here at the bottom of the ocean in the dark. There's a chain around my feet and an anchor through my heart. So I'm sinking now, and somehow I still feel happy if I drown. Yeah, I'm sinking now, and somehow I still feel happy, 'cause it's your love that takes me down, down, down. Yeah, somehow I still feel happy, 'cause it's your love that takes me down, down. Cut me out just to come right back in. You know I'll never walk away and spin me round just to leave me hanging on a word you'll never say. And kiss another girl right in front of my face. Break my heart, you know I'll stay. It's already shattered anyway. Oh, I'm sinking under your heavy arms, and I'm wasted on a space covered in scars. And I'll live here at the bottom of the ocean in the dark. There's a chain around my feet and an anchor through my heart. So I'm sinking now, and somehow I still feel happy if I drown. Yeah, I'm sinking now, and somehow I still feel happy, 'cause it's your love that takes me down, down, down. Yeah, somehow I still feel happy, 'cause it's your love that takes me down, down, down. And I wonder what I'm still doing here. But if I rise above the surface, then the air is thick with fear. So I keep falling down, 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 in a space that doesn't end. Feels like I never hit the ground. So I'm sinking under your heavy arms, and I'm wasted on a space covered in scars. And I'll live here at the bottom of the ocean in the dark. There's a chain around my feet and an anchor through my heart. So I'm sinking now, and somehow I still feel happy if I drown. Yeah, I'm sinking now, and somehow I still feel happy, 'cause it's you that takes me down, down, down. And somehow I still feel happy, 'cause it's you that takes me down, down, down.
so good.
Thank you.
We just had a whole conversation about it and then realized we weren't recording.
Yeah, it was
afterwards.
a really good conversation.
It was heartfelt.
Yeah, I know. So sad.
I don't know if I should apologize or something. I feel like, I don't know if that's too personal too. It's like this song, I feel like when I first heard it, it just hit me, and
Yeah.
it still does sometimes. Like, it's such an emotional song, and it's such a good song. And I almost feel, I feel half angry, and my first, the first thing I wanted to do was almost like write a recording back or something, just being like,
Oh my God, that would have been kind of
this
cool.
is how I felt about
Yeah.
the situation. And maybe I will at some
You
point,
should.
you know.
You totally should,
But then
actually.
also just
Yeah.
like that side of just being so like blown away and so proud, and especially with the video that you have created and self-directed about the whole thing. It's
Thank
just
you.
amazing.
Thank you so much, and thank you for saying that. I when I wrote that, actually, it was so just like I just was saying something, you know what I mean? Just writing something I wanted to say, and I wasn't really thinking about what it would sound like to anyone else or to you,
Yeah.
or to the thing that it was about. I was
Right.
just kind of like talking from a place of a version of me that never spoke or something,
Yeah.
or spoke a little bit, but kept the rest of it inside. And then once I talked to you, and I kind of listened to it thinking about if I was you.
Yeah.
And I really understood how that could make you angry, for sure. Because it's kind of like, it's not like an encompassing song of a bunch of experiences with a person. It's one specific thing that I felt at one time.
Right.
Like one conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's still like, because of that, it can come off in a way that could like be like aggravating to hear, because
Right.
it's not
And it's just so deeply
acknowledging-
personal,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
And the song is so good too that it's just like,
Thank
oh,
you.
it hits you, you know? It's like, I think what I felt after I sort of simmered down a little bit was just that I've never wanted to do anything but just support you, you know? And I've felt so glad to have you in my life since I met
too.
you, you know?
Me too.
And so I
Yeah.
just want you to know that that's where I'm at now, and that's
Yeah.
where I've kind of been at through this whole process, even though as relationships do, we've had these kind of moments where we're in different places, you
Yeah.
know, and it's like, we've certainly been through a lot,
We
you know,
have,
and it's like amazing to me that we can sit here and even have a conversation like this and
Me
just
too.
get to be who we are, you know,
Yeah.
and just create. But I really felt just like, I hope you know that
Yeah.
even if my actions didn't seem that way,
Right.
I always have just had so much love and support for you.
Well,
you know?
and me too. And I, of course, know that. And the song doesn't say that, because if it did, it wouldn't be
the song
way,
that it,
yeah,
and
it
it's,
couldn't. It couldn't.
and it's
Yeah.
such a beautiful song.
Yeah.
And so there's a weird part of me too that is
Yeah.
just like, wow, this is so beautiful. You know what I mean? And I'm glad to like
Yeah.
be a part of this in a weird way, even
Yeah.
though I almost feel like the antagonist of the
Yeah,
story.
I know.
what
That's
mean?
the hard thing about like love songs and stuff, you know,
Right.
or being a subject of a song. But I think the cool thing is that something that at the time brought on a lot of pain can turn into something you love so much.
Oh,
like
and something that other people can love and
Right.
relate to. Like,
you get something that you can find yourself asking, like, why is this happening? Because it sucks so bad
Yeah.
to be in this situation,
Right.
can later become
just something so
something
beautiful.
you're like in love with.
Right.
Like making that video was one of the happiest days of my life.
The video
So-
is amazing. Look it
Thank
up on
you.
YouTube. It's just Juliette Irons sinking. Is there anything else about the video that they would need to know?
No, I think it would be cool. Just watch it and take it in. I just feel like it could connect to different people in different ways. It's a kind of relatable story, I think. But I think it's presented in a way where you could, it can relate to you even if you didn't go through something like that. There's something. It's just kind of.
There's movement too, which I love. I love that you put the movement in it. I think that's
Thank
something that's
you.
so special because, you know, you and I are dancers too, right? And it's like we I hope that we can put these things together more often. I think that's like one of the gifts that we get to give to the world, you know, in terms of like putting our art forms together. And that's something that you're doing that's just blowing me away right now.
Oh, thank you.
Literally, I saw that video and it's just like, holy shit, like you're self-directing this, you know, and I've seen you in these zones. Jules just goes into these zones. Like
a little bit of a control freak about things. I just have to do everything by myself.
She doesn't think anything else but the project that she's doing for whatever
I get
amount
obsessed.
of time. She
Like,
gets
I
obsessed.
get really
But
obsessed.
the things that come out of it are so fucking cool. It's like mind blowing. And this video in particular, it's just like, I hope that you just make more and more and more, because I'm like, keep following this. It's so cool to see like you put your movement with your directing and Jules has synesthesia. So that's like when your senses are crossed in a certain way. And you seem to have it in a lot of ways.
Oh, I have it in like 12 ways, I think, that I know of. There's probably more.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a trip.
It influences her art in such cool ways, and I even notice it in like the coloring of the video and stuff like that, like just things where you can nerd out on, where it's like, you know, those are all sort of expressions of you, right? Like you put that sort of hyper aware sense that you have, this sort of like kind of superpower that you've been given, you know, and you put them into all these art forms. So I'm just I'm stoked on it. Like it lit a fire under me to keep creating and keep shooting video, whatever it is, you know.
That means a lot to me, because I've been feeling that way about everything you've been doing since I met you. You've always been like this artist that I've like put on a pedestal, because I just think you are so brilliantly talented at everything that you do. And it's obvious, like, because you also are doing so many different art forms. And that video, that simple video you recently did, blew my mind, because you, in a similar way, you combined a lot of things. You created the music based on just little objects you found in the moment, which is amazing. And then you moved to it, and like you showed the process too. That was my favorite part, is that you showed how you made like a spoon clinking or something into like this sick sound.
Like pad sound.
I
you could
think
play it on a keyboard.
you need to do like a series of it, and people need to watch it.
I will. I've honestly just taken a break because it was such a bitch.
No, yeah, right? It must have been a lot of work.
It took like a couple good days of just being like,
just doing everything.
Of just trying so much.
Yeah.
The thing that was interestingly really challenging with that one in particular was I danced to no music. And so there wasn't necessarily.
I didn't even realize.
Yeah, I didn't have any sound that I was dancing to, which was fun.
So did you score it? Did you form it based on how you were moving?
Yeah, I did it only based on the movements.
That's like an added layer I didn't even think of.
It was so cool. Really cool, but it was also challenging when it came to timing, because if I were to dance to a song, it would have given me, you know, a solid rhythm at least that music that I made afterwards could have followed. But it was like weird things where I was like hitting something there, but then I'm doing something really fast at, you know, it was like it didn't follow a specific timing because it was just a silence. I was just kind of making up time, like rhythms, you know.
Well, it turned out so cool considering that you had to do all that. I didn't even think of that.
Thank you. It was such a challenge. It was so cool. I think that's part of the reason that it was so fun in the end, you know, because you got to get through that grueling portion of just is this working?
Like, should I do this? Is it crazy? Yeah, you said to me, you're like, it's kind of, he downplayed it so much. He was like, I don't know, like, it's kind of weird. Just let me know what you think of this thing I made. And I watched it and was like, are you kidding me? It was insane. You should go look.
I think I was trying a lot of new things. I was talking into a camera for the first time.
I know. No, I love
was
that.
Like, this is weird.
I think that's
Am I a YouTuber now? I am a robot.
But it's such like a big part I'm realizing of like people connecting to you that don't know you, like through your art, is actually talking to them through a camera. Like, it's just such a big part of our age group and generation now, is actually talking to them, like people that do these like live stream things, or they talk into their Instagram stories, or like just talking to their YouTube videos, and it gives people a sense that they almost kind of know you, and then they want to be part of your.
We all have these TV shows about our lives, right? And it's trippy.
It's weird. I haven't done it yet. I don't know if I could do it.
I think where I'm at right now, and it's sort of constantly shifting, but where I'm at right now is like, okay, if I do have this sort of running TV show about my life, as so many of us do, right? Like with our Instagram stories and shit, we're creating these sort of stories that are the stories, quote unquote, of our lives, And so what do you want to put out there? I think I'm kind of hitting this point where it's like, if I do put stuff out there, I hope it's dope. It's like, I want to make it something just fun and creative, and I want to try new stuff. And I think that's why I wasn't really sure about that video. One, because I'd spent so much time doing it, where you get in that space where you're
like, is this horrible? I can't see it anymore.
You can't taste anything anymore. It's like you've eaten so much that it's like, okay, well, is this food? What is this?
Yeah, I get that way when I'm editing. I feel like I know every frame by heart.
Right.
And so I can't experience it anymore.
So much.
Yeah.
Like,
I need to show it. It's like music. You need to show it to someone like, what do you think of this? Because I know it by heart and I can't tell anymore. It's like
that's why I enjoy sending things to you, because you're almost always supportive.
I'm kind of biased because I love everything you do, but I'll at least I don't think I've ever heard anything and thought I don't like this. Honestly, even if you were like a stranger, I would feel the same way. But
thank you.
I still try to give some feedback.
Yeah, for sure.
But I've honestly loved everything you've ever made. So it's all you guys.
Let's
check
make
it out.
some more.
Yes,
let's make some more. We've got a website going. You can see Jules' latest video. You can see all of our new stuff. Basically,
you know what we should put on there?
What?
The dollhouse.
Yeah, 100%.
In it together.
100%.
We should definitely put that on there.
Absolutely. Basically, just a hub where all of our new shit is posted.
Yeah.
Right now it's masoncutler.com, but I'm going to change it ASAP to TRVST Industries. That's the name of the label, everything,
so cool.
Whatever it is. Just this hub of all of our creations, so we can it'll be easy to see everything that we've been doing.
Yeah.
But it's all up there already. Just go to masoncutler.com at this point, and Jules' latest video is right up there up top. You can see the video we were just talking about with me scoring the movement. We got a video from my friend McCabe Gregg, this really cool short film shot.
So sick. Self-shot.
He's dope. Talk about like self-directing. He did everything. He didn't have a single person working with him.
I've always wanted to try, I used to make these little things where I just didn't have a videographer or DP, cinematographer or whatever. So I would just do it all myself. And they were very, very, very amateurish and whatever. And I was just learning. But now that I feel like I've done, more high quality things, I want to try to do one by myself. But it just seems like it's so limiting. But he really made it.
Just made the most of it.
He made that happen.
It's so cool. It's a sick little short. It's called A8. Peep it.
It's really.
But yeah, we got tons of new stuff coming. I'm trying to do more of these podcasts, and I'm super stoked about. I love this vibe. It's cool because we can I feel like going forward, we can kind of just do whatever we want. Play some more music, whatever it is, do some live sort of session type vibes.
Yeah. I feel like it would be cool too if anyone's interested, if they have any kind of questions.
Yeah.
Or can you tell us about how
anything.
you do this or how blah, blah, blah. And then, how you're producing stuff. I feel like you have a lot of knowledge you could share with people.
Absolutely. If you're curious about anything that we've been working on, we're just stoked to get some feedback. Tell us anything you want. If you like it, if you didn't,
crazy.
What it made you feel, if you think we're weird as fuck.
We are weird as fuck.
I'm just excited about making more stuff, and we're excited that anyone's listening to it. So just hit us up. You can reach out to us through the website, or we're on social media platforms.
Instagram.
We've got the Instagram if you want to
Facebook,
see
if you even
thing.
do that anymore.
I don't do Facebook anymore.
Nobody does Facebook anymore. Really?
I felt weird. And you know what? When I was leaving, I felt even weirder.
Why'd you feel weird?
Because when you're trying to leave, it does this weird thing where it tries to claw you back, and you have to keep clicking.
Did you full
so
on
many
delete
buttons.
Forever Gone?
No, I did the deactivation thing. I just wanted to get out. I was like, yo.
You're like, this is weird.
And it does this weird thing where right at the end, it displays all these photos of people in your life, and it's like, are you sure you want to leave so-and-so? Don't you want to send them a message before you go? And all these weird distractions to make sure you start using it again. It's real.
That's scary,
it's
man.
Trippy. And it was I had that moment of just they're watching us. They control us.
You're like, I gotta get out. Delete.
I'm unplugging from the Matrix.
Oh my God.
Facebook was doing some weird things for me. I felt like it wasn't a place that I liked to spend a lot of time. And Instagram is definitely,
weird place, yeah.
Instagram's owned by Facebook, right? So
I didn't know
it
that.
is, right? Or I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
So I feel like
would not be
Instagram's doing
shocked.
some weird stuff. Like you just see so
Garbage.
many. Yeah, you see some
Toxic
garbage, and
garbage
it's like,
energy,
why am I still here? But
I know, and I'm
Facebook
sucked
could-
in.
Yeah,
It's bad.
We all are
I catch
right
myself.
now.
I feel like I'm like, I catch myself scrolling through nonsense, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
you're like, how long was I
it
just
takes
there?
me a minute
Yeah.
at least to go, whoa,
is
this
this?
is not beneficial. What are you doing? Get out of there. It's like, I feel like there's something on there that's like, why
Just
are we so
built
addicted?
to suck you in.
Why
It's
are we
built
so-
for that.
It's 'cause
That's what's
I think it's
trippy.
because once the picture thing started happening, it's so visual
Yeah.
that we all like feel the need to see people's lives instead of just reading the words, and it's like sucked
I
us
do
in. I don't
notice
know.
a difference though from when it first started, because when I first started using Instagram, it could have been who I was following at that point, but it was a lot of like iPhone photographers and professional photographers.
Yeah.
And it was more of a
you
platform.
got me on that, and I
it was
kinda
cool.
love
It was
that,
like
yeah.
more of a platform for just kind of sharing
Art,
your
like
art.
seeing
And
art,
it felt
yeah.
very supportive. Like you saw a lot of people doing cool things. It felt like, I don't know what's changed, but it seems like it's just gone more into this try to addict you thing. And I don't know, that could also be that everyone else is kind of using it, so you feel like you need to. I think there's a lot of
it's part
factors.
of that, because I feel like I've learned over the past few years how much of a tool it is.
Right.
Even more than YouTube and Twitter and those other things.
Because that's where people are.
Everyone's
It's like
there.
that's where
Yeah.
if you made something and you need to share it, you want to share it where the people are, you know.
Right.
And as
Yeah.
much as Vimeo's freaking sweet and
It's
it has so
amazing.
much good content,
Yeah.
it's like you also want to be able to reach people, you know.
Yeah.
It's like you want if you work so hard on something and you're so proud about something, right?
The first thing I think of putting it is Instagram, because
right?
I know that's where the most people for me are gonna
are seeing it.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of freaks me out sometimes.
I want to know how much people are seeing things. You know, it's like,
Yeah, 'cause
are
they
you
can just scroll
just
past these
are you
days.
just scrolling through? Are you
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
really spending time with this? You know, there's things I really like. I love that I can have an idea and, you know,
You have a place
I can
for
create
it.
something and I
Yeah.
have a place for
Me
it.
too.
And then
Yeah.
there's also things that just make me so uncomfortable, because I feel like I don't want to feel like I'm vying for attention in a really weird way.
Yeah, I
you
know,
Like,
I know. Me too.
Hey, give me 2 seconds of your scroll time. Like some of the things you start
Totally.
seeing are just, they have to capture you, right? So you're seeing the things that are just going to hook you, which is
competition to
mostly
capture
like
you, yeah.
butts, naked people.
Yeah. A lot of butts now.
A lot of
butts
butts.
are really
There's a lot
popular
of
on
butts.
Instagram. It's like
There's a lot of
thong bathing
butts.
suits are like a thing now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's popping.
I was actually going to ask that question recently. I was like talking about that to someone. When did that happen? That's like all of a sudden it's like a thing. Like your butt has to be on Instagram if you're a woman. Like you have to show your ass.
you gotta show the
in order
butt.
to be like relevant. Not necessarily. That's exaggerating.
I just
but it's
think
like a
that
thing.
people have found certain ways that things work, right? Like, okay, you know, if you're going through 100 photos in 2 minutes, which is essentially like what
that
we're
freaks
doing,
me
right?
out.
Like, what are those things
lot
that are
of-
going to snap and get you? Like, one of those things is probably
Is a butt,
nudity,
yeah.
right? Like, it's
Yeah.
it's one of those things. Like, if you saw a nude person on the street, you'd be
You're like,
you'd look at
right.
it, you'd be like, why is that person naked? You
Yeah.
know, like. And naturally, it's just going to, you know, trigger whatever those
catches
things
our
are, whether
attention,
it's
yeah.
hormones or, you know, if it's whatever it is,
It's so
right?
true.
Like,
It's so true. Yeah.
so
That's a good point.
it's interesting to see people how they use these things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I wonder, are we getting a true representation to what our culture cares about, or are we getting a representation of the things that can distract us the most easily? You know,
Ooh, maybe both.
maybe both.
Yeah.
And it's kind of
think it is
scary.
both.
It
It's
can
really
be a little
scary.
scary,
Yeah,
because it's like,
I'm-
okay, what is this world? You know, do I
Yeah.
feel safe here?
I don't know if I do. And sometimes like I tried to like limit myself for a second because I
Yeah.
thought I was getting too like oversaturated. And when I went up north in Canada this summer and took a break for like 5 days or whatever, I just decided it felt so nice that I just wanted to
Staying
like
on the lake, or
it was amazing. It's so secluded and everything. And so I decided I wanted to not look at my phone in the morning because it's like immediate stimulation. And sometimes I do that to wake up. I feel like a lot of people do that.
First
you're
thing,
tired,
lean over,
you're tired,
grab
like,
it.
what's going to get me out of bed
alarm's
fast?
probably on your phone. You
Right.
check the phone and then, hey,
And you're like,
I got 5
activating
notifications.
my brain,
like,
reading things.
Yeah.
It wakes you up. I do that a lot.
Yeah.
And I told myself after that I would stop and I would wait till I got up, like took some breaths, ate breakfast,
Yeah, do a
whatever.
little meditation.
Then I'll answer texts or. But I have not stuck to that. And I really want to do that. I want to like limit myself a little more and not be so. I've realized I think it's like living alone. I'm desperate. I'm desperate for connection.
I was about
I'm
to say
seeking
that.
a connection through social media.
I was about to say that.
Constantly clicking on it, hoping I'll have someone
Something.
contacting,
Yeah, right.
some kind of feeling that I'm not alone.
Right.
It freaks me out.
Yeah,
It really
I think
freaks me out.
that sensation is so accentuated when you're actually living alone. That's
Yeah.
something I've noticed so much
Yeah, me
since I've been
too.
up here.
Yeah.
It's like, if I actually am not contacting anyone for a
Right.
certain amount of time, I mean, there'll be times where I haven't left the house for 2 straight days, right?
Yeah.
And just that
I've
feels
been
like
there.
an eternity.
Yeah.
It's like after that, you're like, whoa,
Like I've been
you
in a
know?
box.
So those little interactions, whether it's a FaceTime or whatever it is, that feels like pretty stimulating.
Or
when
even
you're,
a comment.
even a
Someone
comment,
commenting
right?
on a video you just made or like some positive thing. You're
It's
like,
a connection.
Someone feels love for me. I'm
Right.
not alone. And I feel like I search for it. So I'm
Right.
clicking. And then at the end of the day, I think how many cumulative minutes have I spent searching for a connection on a screen instead of going out there and talking to people? But you go out there and everybody is staring
Looking at the
down at their
screen.
phone and it freaks me out, but I do it too.
Yeah, and all of us, I think all of us have had that moment where you look up at the dinner table and no one's looking.
Ooh, I can't do that. It really freaks me out. Yeah.
Right.
I tend to mainly do one-on-one interactions, but like
I'll be
I'm
out at a
big on
dinner
not
with some friends and
when it's a group, I find that
when it's a
happens.
group, right?
They're
And-
all okay with it because other people are doing it.
Well,
so.
yeah, once one person kind of gets on it and then it's like, okay, it's like kind of phone time and then
Yeah.
everyone gets on it. But if you
can't
don't
do it.
it's kind of, it's that weird moment where
You're like staring at the wall while no one
everyone's
is.
playing
yeah.
Pokemon Go. And
I can't do it. No, I will seriously just sit there and stare no matter, because I just can't. I feel so strange not giving my energy to people when they're in front of me.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I've been there where it's just the group of phone stuff. And
Trippy.
you know what's funny though? My phone broke recently, and I went to the Apple store, and the guy beside me, his phone broke because we were both there together fixing our phones, and then
Right.
we're having this actual conversation and talking about the fact that we're only talking because there's nothing else to do while we're waiting, because our
Right.
phone is actually being worked on. So you're not doing the typical, I'm waiting for something, I'm going to click and answer an email or click on
Right.
Instagram and entertain myself. We had a real conversation, and it just was so like weird that had to happen to just
In order to
talk to a
have that
stranger.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I try and do it all the time.
Yeah, you're really good at it, actually. I've
I
been
try
trying
and
to do
just
it too.
talk to strangers
be
as
more-
much as I can. If I
Yeah.
feel like the moment's okay for it, I just reach out.
Yeah.
And usually I just start it with just a hi.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to come with any angle. I just start
Just a
an
hi.
interaction.
Hello.
Start
You
an
can tell.
interaction,
You
like
could tell if they want to
yeah,
have one with
absolutely.
you.
And if it feels a little hostile, then you don't have to mess with it. But oftentimes, you get into a conversation with a random person. It could be anyone, Could
Yeah.
be a 74-year-old woman in the mall, It's like whoever it is.
Yeah.
But I usually feel good in the sense that I've had some interaction, and there's something, more well-rounded about that style of interaction. I don't think that digital interaction is necessarily wrong.
Right. It can do
just
amazing
think-
things too.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think that, these moments of person-to-person interaction can be so fulfilling. Just it doesn't even have to go anywhere in particular. You don't have to get something solid out of it, right?
Yeah.
But just kind of peeking into someone else's world for a moment can be so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of those fascinating things about just being here, getting to be here, right?
And it must have been so different before all of this technology, because that was the only real thing, was just person-to-person interaction. And now you can
You have
spend
to be
so
with them.
long through a screen with someone and then actually see them in person, and it's almost like you have to get comfortable talking to them again.
I have
because-
relationships with people in my life that I consider myself to be close to that I've only spent probably 15, 20 minutes with in real life.
Wow. Yeah. That's incredible. I feel that way too. I have a few.
Isn't that trippy?
Yeah. Or people that live on the other side of the country that
Yeah.
I text all year and see once a year, maybe.
Yeah.
And
But I have two friends in particular that I feel really close to them, you know? I share my life with them. I talk to them, see how they're doing. I send them music, I play music for them.
And it's all through technology.
It's all through technology.
That's pretty amazing, though. That's really cool. That's something we couldn't have done before when he was writing letters. And
yeah, I do wonder, like the other day I had this moment where I was like, I really don't know. Like if I were to just show up at your house and meet your whole family, there would be so many things I don't know. You know?
About those people?
Yeah, like I've only really know that person through what they've told me, right? I don't really know that person from the objective perspective of watching them in an environment.
Yeah.
And seeing how they might interact with anyone in their family, their sister, their mother, or someone random, you know. Seeing them in certain situations, I pretty much just know them in the situation of, you know, they're telling me what, you know, they're doing, whatever about their life, and I'm talking to them.
A certain part of them,
right?
Yeah.
So... And I engage in that because I enjoyed that part of them. But I had this sort of wake up moment where I'm like, how well do I know this person? You know, it's like, I've never really seen you interact that much with, I don't know your whole life.
Yeah.
You know, it's just fascinating.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating.
I think that in a way that's an amazing thing because it keeps us connected with people that we wouldn't be anymore. Like that's one thing Facebook has done for me is they like kept connections with people that I wouldn't otherwise talk to, or like jobs, you know.
Jobs, yeah.
That's an amazing thing about technology is it's giving us that. But
right.
It's also, I find, kind of like an invasion of privacy sometimes because we all like can now see like when someone's doing something and they didn't necessarily tell you about it, but they like posted it or like Instagram storied something, and then you see that like they said they were busy tonight or blah blah blah, and then they're out like in their Instagram.
Yeah, well, pretty much if you're gonna put something on one of those, I would say
actually right. That's not really invasion of privacy.
If
that's
you're like comfortable with the entire Earth seeing
anyone
on Earth
has
being
access.
able to see it, then go ahead and do it. I think it's that sort of thing.
That's
you
true.
know?
It's a good point. It's a good point, but it's I guess you have to like realize it's not gonna. There is no privacy when you put stuff on the internet. It's accessible to everyone.
Yeah,
anyone can click on, unless you have a private account where you only share with your friends. What?
A private SoundCloud link.
Yeah,
for the homies. Right. Don't leak it.
Coming soon.
Yeah, I got a new album coming out soon. It's called Olas 1111. I've been sending a private SoundCloud link to my friends.
It's amazing.
It's something really different. It's different than what I've done before. Should I play something from that?
Yes.
Let's
I mean, unless you wanna like. You know,
no, I think it's cool. Yeah, why not? Share it. I'm gonna share one called Innocence. Hey, we're hanging out here on the porch in the
song.
moonlight.
That was so beautiful.
That's
I love it.
It's a guy who used to tour with named Mike Meadows. I got a bug on me. What are you doing, little bug?
He
You
likes
see him?
you.
Where's he at?
Yeah, he's gone.
Okay.
He's gone.
My friend from tour, Mike Meadows, played cello on that one. I think I was
He's
like laying
stunning.
down, and I was like, "Oh, I just want to hear some strings."
Yeah.
You know, like and thank you so much, Mike. It's so beautiful.
It's unbelievable. Like you're
it makes
definitely
me wanna
allowed to
cry.
cry. No, I was just saying you're allowed to cry right
I'm
now.
like, holy shit!
No,
Mike,
this
this bug is literally just on me.
I'm definitely holding it in right now for sure. It's stunning.
Well,
Videos coming soon.
yeah, we want to shoot some videos for that and all sorts of new music. Just go to masoncutler.com for everything right now, to hear anything of Jules, anything of mine, and you can see everything there. And thanks for listening to the podcast.
Thank you so much for listening
number
to us
one.
be crazy and
it's been
talk
so
in
fun.
circles.
Yeah,
it's been awesome.
Jules, thanks.
Thank you for having me here. I'm excited for more and for other people you're gonna have on this. Is gonna be great.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'll try a few different things, do some DJ mixes, do some maybe like live sessions sort of vibes, and maybe film some of them. Just try a bunch of different shit. I'm excited about it going forward.
Me too. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
It's been awesome.
Chew. All right. Love you guys.
Bye.
Peace.
This love